Hi, we're coming from Raising Arrows at RCC. We miss you guys. We're looking forward to the next time when we can see you in church. But we got a way to meet with you online. And Miss Janice has a game prepared for today's lesson. Go, Miss Janice.
I miss you guys. We have to have church a different way this week and probably for the next couple of weeks, but we're going to make it exciting. We're going to make it really good for you. So just stay tuned every Sunday and maybe during the week to listen in for what we have planned for you. So why are we dressed like this? Remember, we're doing the Bible Treasure Hunt series. So we're continuing it. Even though you are at home and we can't meet together as a church, it's okay. We can still do our lesson. We can still read our word. Church does not stop just because we can't come to a building. So today we're going to do a fun game, introduce you to a fun game that we have planned for you that you could do at home to go with our lesson. So Jaden, if you want to challenge me?
I'll challenge you. I can back out from challenges.
Hi, this is the game that we have today. This is Goliath, and we're going to knock Goliath down. Miss Janice and Jaden are preparing their weapons, paper balls, and this is how you can make one at home. Just take a piece of paper, you can draw your own Goliath, tape it to a cup, and now we are going to allow them to throw their paper balls and knock down Goliath. Now, who do you think is going to win? Miss Janice? Whoa! Or Jaden? Whoa! Okay, if you write down below who you think is going to win, when we get back, you will enter your name into the treasure.
To win the treasure box with some type of prize in it. It could either have kinetic sand, Legos, a gift card, or money, candy. You'll find out once you get back into our building.
Get set, go!
Child, if you an institute, take me a mile. I feel the windows and the thunder roll. 2 feet on the water, only one way to go. Yeah. I'd rather be afraid no more, 'cause I ain't up to the storm. I'm more than just a child.
So now it's time for our lesson. And so we played the game where we were knocking down Goliath, and unfortunately Jaden won, only because I didn't get enough ammo. But I'm going to challenge him again. I challenge you to do that at home too. This week we're continuing our series of our Bible Treasure Hunt. And so we are looking for our treasure. Now here we have a map, and the map is of the United States. And when you find a map in any movie that you do a treasure hunt with, they don't find the map and they go, "Ooh, this is a treasure map. Let's take it into the museum. Let's hand it over to them for them to find the treasure." No, they set out on the quest themselves. And so we have the treasure map, well, not the treasure map, but we have the map of the United States. And one thing that's happening right now all around the world is that all of these states that you see here are being affected by what we are being affected by. That's the reason why we can't be in church, and which is obviously the coronavirus. And today we're going to talk about that, but we're not going to talk about it in fear, but we're going to talk about it in faith and see what is God showing us because of this virus. What is God doing in our hearts and our lives? So we can very much look at the coronavirus as the Goliath, as this evil thing to send away, and we have to defeat it. But how do we defeat it? How do we come against this virus? Are we just being fearful? Are we just looking at it as, is something really bad? Or do we turn it around and look at, okay, God, how are you using this virus to find the treasure within us, for us to seek you as the treasure? So if you look in 1 Samuel chapter 17, you're going to find the story of David and Goliath. So in the story of David and Goliath, you look, I challenge you to read it, to read the whole chapter. Samuel is 1 Samuel 17 and verse 33. Saul is hearing that David is wanting to challenge Goliath. And I'm paraphrasing here, so go back and read it. But he's hearing that he's wanting to challenge Goliath. And so Saul calls for Goliath. And Saul says to David, you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. So meaning like, David, you don't have experience. Goliath has been fighting wars since he was your age, and he is more qualified at fighting than you are. But here's David's response to him. But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it and struck it and delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it rose against me, I caught it by its beard and struck it and killed it. So he's telling David that he's telling Saul, not only did I take on a lion, but I took on a bear, and the Lord was with me. I could take on this guy because the Lord is with me. So now he's speaking from experience. He knows, hey, if the Lord deliver me from a lion, he can deliver me from a bear. He can deliver me from this giant. He is no match for me, no matter how young I am. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you guys today. I want to open up my treasure box. Okay. So in my treasure box, I have some things. And the Lord spoke to me this week with the story of David and Goliath to put a little plot twist. So in this treasure box, I have toilet paper. If you know, or if you go into the store, you see so many people. We even talked about it last week. So many people looking for toilet paper. Do you want some toilet paper?
Sure.
You can have some toilet paper. Toilet paper. They're fighting over toilet paper. This is what they're putting their trust in. This is what they're putting their trust in toilet paper. Guys, do we put our trust in toilet paper? Can toilet paper do anything for us except help us in the bathroom? That's the only thing it can do. It can help us in the bathroom. But if a storm came, if anything else came, this toilet paper would be useless. Absolutely useless. But in my treasure box, I do have some things that is beneficial to you and that it is a treasure. And I have rocks. So going back to the story of David and Goliath, we talked about how Saul is telling David, you're too young, but David's like, I can take on this guy. Saul puts on this armor on David, and then David says, well, I haven't tested out this armor. He's got this whole armor on. I haven't tested out this armor. This is not David's armor. David is not used to wearing this armor. And so David's like, listen, I need to fight this the way that I know how. So he goes and he gets a stick and he gets 5 stones. He goes to the brook because that's how he knows how to fight. And so the Lord spoke to me this week that you guys need to fight the way that you guys know how to fight. And this is how we fight. We can't go based on our parents' armor. Our parents have a relationship with God. Our parents read the Bible. Our parents pray. Our parents know how to worship. You guys know how to do the same thing. And even though you're young, you can do the same thing. So the Lord showed me 5 rocks. And these are going to be our armor. This is going to be the way that we're going to battle this coronavirus, because so many people are seeing this coronavirus as a bad thing. And yes, it's making people sick. And yes, it's not good for our economy and different things. But we have to say, God, what good are you bringing within this virus? It's making us stay in home, which we can spend time with one of the rocks here. Family. This is a time for us to come together as a family, to be able to read God's word, to be able to worship, to be able to encourage each other. Guys, a lot of times we're busy because our parents are working, or we have this sport, we have that sport to go to. But God is saying, I want to give you guys back your armor of being together as a family in unity. Amen. Number 2 is worship. You know, when Saul was having a tormenting spirit and he was just not feeling like his mind was just going, David was called in to play harp. David was called in to play worship. When your mind is just racing and there's chaos going around, you can say, guys, let's just stop and let's just praise God. I've been just listening to a song called Breakthrough by Eddie James. That's been my one thing that as I've been, feeling, like I need to just shake this off. That is my go-to song, or just another song. So worship and praise. That's going to be one of your rocks this week. Then, obviously, prayer. Prayer, you guys don't have to wait for your parents to get into that circle. You guys don't have to wait for your parents to say, okay, guys, we're going to pray. You can pray, because guess what? What is prayer? Talking to God. You're talking to God just like you're talking to Mama Lisa, just like you talk to me, just like you're talking to your friends. It doesn't have to be the special kind of words. You just talk to him. He wants to talk with you. So prayer is our third stone. Number 4, it got a little melted because it was outside, but it says the Bible. The Bible is the best instruction, the best map. The best map. We don't want to hand this map over for somebody else. Yes, we want to pass along the map and share this map. But if we pass along this map and we stay without a map, what is guiding us? So this is our map to find our treasure, which is obviously the Lord. So by the Bible. And the last one is, David went back and said, the Lord protected me and helped me defeat a lion. The Lord protected me and helped me defeat a bear. I want you to go back and look at what is this thing that the Lord protected you in. This past week I had a car accident and it could have been really bad, but the Lord protected me. This week, just yesterday, we were praying with Gabby and Samuel and Daniel, and their grandparents were able to come, guys. They are here in the United States. When the planes have been told that they can't fly, when the people have been, there's been other people who've been stuck in other countries, they got a yes. The Lord moved that Goliath away, out of the way, and where it looked like there was absolutely no possible way that they could come right now, in the midst of a virus, in the midst of all the craziness, God moved that Goliath. So guess what? When we start to feel down and we need to encourage ourselves, let's look back at the miracles that God did in our lives and encourage ourselves. Say, God, if you protected me from a car accident, if you helped Gabby, Daniel and Samuel's grandparents be able to come here to be with them in the United States, you can get us through this virus. So I challenge you this week to look at the good things that God is doing along this time. Look at the good things that he's doing. Don't focus on the bad, because that's what the enemy would want us to do, to bring fear in our lives. But let's look at the good things. So I challenge you this week. Find a rock. I took these from my yard. Find a rock. All I did was take paint and puff paint and wrote down what I felt the Lord was speaking to me about. So I want to just remind you guys, find a rock this week, take a picture of it and put it in the comments, and we'll put your name in the drawing for the treasure box as well. Also, don't forget our memory verse. And Mama Lisa, do you want to read the memory verse for them?
Okay.
Oh, your glasses.
That's okay. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be. Also, Matthew 6:21.
So let's let our heart be in the word. Let's let our heart be in worship, and let's forget about the toilet paper.
Amen.
I'll see you guys next week. Next week, I have another lesson for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Next week, we're going to be using something called oblique. Miss Aleida made that with the 3 to 5-year-old class last week, and we're going to make it this week, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to get it for you right now, and I'm going to show you a little preview for next week. So next week, we're going to be making this, the oblique. Miss Aleida, I have all these names, made it last week with the 3 to 5-year-old class. But as I woke up one day, the Lord spoke to me about this. And well, how is our heart going to be within these next couple of days that we're home, and these next couple of weeks that we're home? And so he spoke to me like, how are we going to allow our hearts going to be in his hand? Are we going to, if you squeeze this right here, this oblique, if you squeeze it and you apply pressure to it, it becomes hard. You can make it like a rock. But if you let it go, it just flows through your hands. And so next week we're going to talk about, are we going to just flow and be moldable to God's what God is doing, or are we going to harden our hearts when the pressure comes? So next week, stay tuned for that lesson. I love you guys. We miss you. We're praying for you, and we can't wait to see you guys again in this building. But remember, we don't have to be in this building to be the church. We don't have to be in this building to worship God. We don't have to be in this building to draw closer to God. You can be right where you are in your home. That's actually the best place to be drawing closer to God, because he can speak to you while you're not being distracted by your friends. Love you guys.
You've been here week after week. I know some of you can come every Sunday, but when you're here, We plant a seed in your spirit, and it's time for that seed to come back, to flourish. You have so much inside of you. Give it a chance to come out. Start thinking about all the lessons. Remember that lesson we did on boldness? And all the characters of the Bible that you thought were bold, you be bold in this time period. You be bold for Jesus. You tell your friends about Jesus during this time.
Yes.
You have a lot inside of you. Let it come out.
Yes.
We love you. We hug and we kiss you.
From a distance.
From a distance.
We love you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.